until now, another year of DragCon, and it seems like this year there's an even bigger crowd. It grows and grows each year.
DragCon is like a big party, and people can come here and express themselves. It's like for all the family, multi-generational. Who wouldn't want to come to a great party? You know, it's good that it's growing.
How about yourself?
There's over 200 queens from all over the world. It's crazy. It's like the United Nations of drag queens. And we've essentially outgrown the Los Angeles Convention Center. I don't know where we're going to go next year. I guess, where will we go?
To the moon.
It's been super exciting. So much to do here and so much great shopping.
That's true. I was looking at some of those booths, and I was like, I'm coming back for that, and that. And specifically, you know, just you were talking about it being more global. Global All-Stars obviously is coming up in August. What led you to say, you know, we want to take this to another level and bring in these queens from all over the world and really represent not just those nationally, but also from other countries?
Absolutely. You know, drag has existed and does exist in every culture, in every country. And so it just seemed a logical next step to bring everybody together because, funnily enough, I guess ultimately we all have more in common than we do things that separate us. And we seem to be, as a society and as a world, in a place where people are gravitating towards polarization and conflict and extremism. And yet, really, this is a place to celebrate that we're all different, but we all have so much in common. And so the sort of the global growth of the show is it feels very organic and very natural. And one of the loveliest things about it is that all the queens come here from all the different versions of the show, and they're having a great reunion, a sort of family experience. And I think we can all feel that and benefit from that.
I just add, drag queens are global freedom fighters. We are providing a public service by bringing them all together, and it's more important now than ever for people to connect and listen to what they have to say. The other thing is, they all get to meet each other. They all know each other from TV and from watching WOW Presents Plus, but they get to meet each other here, and so we're providing a public service to the world and to them.
And you spoke about them being freedom fighters, and I've seen, you know, art is a form of resistance, drag being an art form as well falls into that. How do you kind of see that playing out in terms of queens really stepping out, especially during, you know, everything going on politically right now?
Well, you know, Rue cut the ribbon earlier today at DragCon and said, you know, the most important thing is to vote, to make your voice heard. You have the right to vote. In this country, we're very lucky, and we really have to exercise that muscle and use it.
Yeah, I mean, the freedom of expression and the very existence of drag is at stake this election season. So it was pretty appropriate for Rue to mention that when he cut the ribbon at this year's DragCon.
And do you think that depending on where things go election-wise, that this would affect the show or affect the way that WOW Presents moves forward?
Absolutely not. You know, the voice of the creative, artistic community has never been silenced, will never be silenced, no matter how hard some people try to silence it. And in certain climates, resistance is the only way, but otherwise, in the meantime, we should celebrate and draw more people in that, you know, we're all different and we're all the same. And let's celebrate that rather than try to pick one kind of person over another kind of person. And so I think though, you know, we're in these very weird times politically, and there is this attempt to silence people. It's never worked in history. It never will work, and we will carry on.
We are considering Matt Gaetz for season 17 of Drag Race. We just got his audition tape, and we'll keep it posted.
There's always what's his face, Santos.
No. Matt Gaetz.
Vittorio Radici. What is her name?
And my last, I I can't comment. My last question for you is, what does it mean? I've been talking to queens on the floor who say, I came here from Canada, I came here from all over the place, worldly and even just nationally. What does that mean, just seeing that that reach that the show has had?
To me and Randy, I think it means the world. I mean, our production company is called World of Wonder because that's really what we think it is. It is a fascinating world packed with an infinite variety of souls, and that should be something to celebrate rather than use to divide people.
Would you like to add?
Providing a platform for drag queens around the world, it's our life's work, and if the fact that we can do that is amazing, and there's nothing we want more than for people not only to appreciate them but to help support them, because the world is a better place with drag queens. It's more colorful, it's freer, it means everything to us. It means the world. There wouldn't be a World of Wonder without drag queens all over.
Thank you both so much for your time. I appreciate it. Thank you. Oh, thank you. Yeah, we did. Yeah, we talked to a few queens down there.
Alright, so I'm going to be writing an article.
Okay, thank you. Rick is going to go down in a bit.
Last year.
You said I need to be
Girl, like why? Like we're on our feet the whole day. Why suffer, right? And no one's gonna look at this if you look like this. Nobody's gonna look down and look at your shoes.
The shoes still look great, so I think
Thank you, I
it's
appreciate
amazing.
it.
All right, let me have you just introduce yourself and give your pronoun.
Sure.
I'll hold
Oh.
the mic for you.
Do I talk to the camera or is this just for you?
Yeah, look at me.
Oh, Aura Mayari, she, her.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much,
of course.
Aura. And Aura, what has just Drag Race in general meant for you, and what freedom has this expression meant for you?
Great question. Drag Race and just drag in general definitely has changed my life. Growing up as a Filipino kid, I never really thought that I would have opportunities like this because we didn't see people like me in the media. And that's why I didn't pursue it in college. I went to nursing school and then I dropped out because I'm like, I can't do it, it's too much. And then I did sales and all that stuff, and I just felt that I never really belonged in the industry, and it really got me depressed and anxious and just feeling like I'm doubting myself, and I felt like a failure until drag found me. And it's been such an amazing experience to be able to showcase this art to the rest of the world.
And there are a lot of Filipino queens here. What does that mean to you, just to seeing the increase, of
definitely.
representation?
It's amazing. I haven't been back for such a long time. And, going on Drag Race as a Filipino, representing the country and all my Filipino people was such an amazing thing to have and to experience as well. And seeing now that Drag Race Philippines is one of the top franchise out there, and the queens are so freaking amazing. I love seeing like the culture-inspired stuff, and they're really taking that seriously and showcasing the Filipino culture on stage.
And do you think just through this representation of having the show there as well, and then just in general, just and through the other shows of the franchise, having Filipino rep, that could essentially change the way Filipinos kind of view drag, just culturally?
What do you mean by that?
In terms of, just because I feel like because it's a predominantly like Catholic.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, I was very surprised too, as well, that there was a big drag community in the Philippines. I mean, I grew up Catholic, and I have such amazing parents. I got really lucky with very supporting and understanding parents. And I just love that we are able to showcase that on TV in the Philippines and showing the Filipino people that, it's an art form. Even if it's not, why can't we just be and express ourselves however we want to without hurting anybody? So that's really what's important.
No, I asked because I was especially surprised seeing the success of Drag Race Mexico, and I was like, another predominantly Catholic country, and I was like, wow, and doing well, yeah.
There's similarities in the culture, like Filipinos and Mexicans have, the Spaniards obviously took over us for a long time, but yeah, it's great. Oh,
yeah, colonization,
The colonization.
Oh, jeez. But in terms of just, you talked about how the show brought you a lot of freedom and experiencing it, but specifically just being able to build that community community, you know, with the fellow queens, but then also through your fans. What has that been like for you?
It's been amazing. I didn't really understand the impact of Drag Race before I started drag. I found drag, and from the get-go, it's just people coming to our shows. You don't really realize that these people have to deal with a lot of things outside of this community and even the shows, until you get a random message on Instagram or people just coming up to you and letting you know that like I was having a terrible day. And I came here to just kind of take a break for an hour and watch the show, and you guys changed lives. So it's been such an amazing experience to be that tool for people, to kind of just take a moment, take a breather, and forget about all the nasty things that's happening in the world right now. And it's a great opportunity for us to be a tool for entertainment for those people.
And what would you say to just other drag performers throughout the country who, haven't been able to be on the show and are a little nervous about everything going on politically with the drag ban?
But first of all, you don't have to be on the show to feel validated and to feel like seen. I got lucky to be on the show. To be honest with you, I'm just very lucky and very thankful to be part of the show. But what I'm going to say, I came from Nashville. I'm from Tennessee, where all the drag ban happened first. And, we band together. We are a community, and we are all we have. We got to stick together. We have our allies also. Thank you guys for always being there. We need you guys, to represent us in your community. Sometimes we can't speak for ourselves because nobody's going to listen to us. And for you allies out there, being able to educate the other people in your community, it's been wonderful. I just want to say thank you so much for that. And to the drag queens, just keep doing what you're doing. You are amazing. You are brave. I salute you for all the things that you do. Being a drag queen it's a lot. It's really tough to do. Like being gay, being trans, or whatever it is, that's already a big thing, right? And then coming out to doing drag and being, I'm sorry to say this, shit on social media for just being. Stay strong. We have a community behind you, and we all love you.
My last question for you, to end on a light note,
Sure,
what was your favorite moment from your season on Drag Race?
My favorite moment, there's so much. A lot of things happened, a lot of things that I didn't expect, a lot of things that I expected. I've learned so much about myself in that show. But one thing, it's so cliche to say this, but meeting the girls, season 15, there was a lot of us, and it was really hard to really keep track of everybody. But, we still talk today. I have the bestest friend over there, Robin Fierce, who I still hang out with. We talk to each other every day. We FaceTime. And so I really cherish those relationships that I built.
I love that. It's like there's still community even though there was competition.
Yeah. And it's a shared trauma. That's why we have to be friends. But thank you.
Thank you so much.
Of
That
course.
does happen, right? With your coworkers.
Yeah.
You go through the trauma together.
Okay. Also.
No, it's stunning.
A hungry people.
You said you made this.
I did. I was literally sewing up until the point I had to leave my. I feel like I've told everybody this, but yeah, I did make this, and it was a labor of love. I'm very obsessed. It's so cute.
It's amazing from the sleeves,
Thank you.
the detailing.
She's a woman in blue. I feel very Cinderella.
Yep.
And then,
I see it.
oh my God, I left my heels at the hotel, so I was literally running around DragCon before the Queen Walk. Trying to find shoes, so I definitely felt like Cinderella.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
People were probably like, who is this bitch running around here with no shoes on? What the heck is going on?
Like, wow,
But yeah, it was me.
committed.
It was me. Shout out to my dad for going back to the hotel to get back the shoes. But,
I mean,
yeah.
I was an ass. There's somebody selling them here. If you were looking
Somebody
for
was
shoes.
selling shoes, and I snatched them up real quick. It was amazing. They were godsend. Yeah.
But tell me, what has it meant to you just being a part of Drag Race and especially this year, being here and seeing just the crowd of people?
It always means so much to me to come out to DragCon because I get to meet all the people who help make us and build our platforms. So that's always amazing, and I love seeing all of my sisters from like all around the world, all around the country, and we just always have such an amazing time. Like, yes, it's work because we're all like at our booths and stuff, but like it's also kind of fun and play because we get to just have fun and be with each other when we're not at our booths.
And has there been a favorite, because you're obviously interacting with a lot of fans, has there been a favorite moment that you've had already, just either today or just hoping to have?
Actually, it happened yesterday in the lobby of my hotel. I was, of course, out of drag. I was checking in, and I don't want to say little girl, I don't know their pronouns. This little person and their mom were just sitting in the lobby, and my dad's here. He's helping me at my booth. So everybody stop by and say hi to Papa Fierce. I don't know when this comes out, but but literally I was about to go up, and then I had turned around, and she like fully saw my face. She's like, oh my god, are you Rob? I'm like, yes, dude. And she was like, I'm very much the type of person, like, you can come, you can say hi, and all that, but she was like so scared. I'm like, baby, you can just come over and say hi. And she was just so adorable, so cute, and like little moments like that always like warm my heart, because I forget, like, I do mean something to people. Like, it's not just me just out here doing stuff. What I do matters to somebody. It changes somebody's life, even if I'm not doing it on purpose necessarily. And it was cool to have that moment with my dad also, because people always get excited that like my dad is here, because like you don't see that, especially with queer Black people. You don't always see that. So it's nice that there's an example there, and people feel a little warmth with that too.
Yeah, people see that it's possible to have, hopefully down the line, some family support. And for you, what was that moment for you when you're like, wow, drag really is giving me that freedom that I've always kind of wanted?
I think I've always been a person that kind of chased what it is that I kind of want to do. I hate doing things I don't want to do, as most of us do. But drag really made all the things that I wanted to do, like singing and art and just performing and creating, possible in one little bubble. Well, now a big bubble, but one bubble, and I'm just so grateful that I get to do this even more on a larger platform.
And what would you say to those queens who haven't been able to, be on the show, but they're out there performing, and also in the back of their mind thinking about, what if this one day does get banned in the U.S.?
I mean, I think that queer people are always fighting something, and especially with drag queens, we will find a way to do the things that we want and need to do. So make sure you vote. Make sure you vote, because that is very important for the people who can vote, so that we don't get people in office that are going to ban our existence, especially for trans people, because they are the most under attack. And also, I know this is a long spiel, but it is important. Like, vote locally too. We know there's a whole presidential race happening, but we also need to make sure that our governments where we actually live are doing what they're supposed to do, and you do that by voting for the right people. So look them up and all that fun stuff, okay? So that would be the number one. But also, don't let fears of life stop you. Like, yes, be cautious, because you never know what's going to happen, but you can't live your life in the fear of what is to come. You just have to live for the moment, and that would be my advice.
And do you, to end on a lighter note, do you remember that first drag show that you ever saw that made you say, I want to do that and I want to be part of that?
The first drag experience that I had was RuPaul's Drag Race. I actually really thought drag queens were weird. I'm like, what is this? I'm good, no thank you. And then I started watching and I'm like, these queens are no more weird than me. So maybe I should give this a try and see how it goes. But then I started watching Drag Race, I started exploring, and then got into my local scene. There's so many amazing queens in Connecticut. I know for me, I started out watching Xiomara LaBeija, who's in Connecticut, and the trans icon, the trans legend, my fairy godmother, Tatiana, Lady Tatiana. Oh, when I saw her, I'm like, oh my gosh, trans women are magical, and this drag thing, this is sickening. So those are two queens that meant a lot to the beginnings of my journey, and so many more. I think it's so important, especially for Drag Race fans out there, to realize that there's more drag out there than just Drag Race. We love Drag Race. I'm so thankful for it, but also research the local girls and what else is out there, because they are one day going to be on this platform. So catch them before before and get into it before, you know?
Oh, no, it's very true. I remember I went to a tiny little club with one of my cousins in Mexico, and it was like the most amazing drag show I have ever seen in my life. And it was literally a tiny club in the corner somewhere.
People use it as, or it sounds like to people like it's a bad thing, but the local girls, baby, they be working. There is no shame in being the local girl. We all have been there. We all still are there. So, you know, really pay attention to your local girls because they are sickening. And to be quite honest, although I do work hard, some of the local girls work way harder than we do. Okay? Like, yes, we're traveling and all that stuff, but go to a drag show, give a bitch $1, a $5, a $6, a $10, a $20, all the things, and just have a good time.
Thank you so much, Robin. And can I just get your pronouns as well?
My pronouns in drag are she, her, out of drag, he, him, but whatever, it's fine.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Thank
Thank
you.
you. So nice chatting with you.
Walk down the carpet, similar with the feet are getting
You don't need all this makeup. I need all of it. Hotel after. Alright. I know. I was afraid.
No, and if I have
Yeah, you never did so good.
The documentary you don't realize how as these drag
Even though
they say that they get inspired by us.
in this
Because so many messages, we get Instagram messages and people randomly walking up to us.
So we love to take inspiration from all over, but this is my designer, Chris Tyler, and we just kind of throw ideas together, and this is what comes out of it. So we're a great team.
It reminds me of just, it's very regal but very powerful.
So I love like a glamorous edge. That's kind of what I always call my drag. I love that touch of edge, but keep it glamorous. I'm from Atlanta, that good southern drag. So I love to kind of combine the two. I love the mix of fashion with a little costuming. There's that fine line, so I like to kind of teeter that line.
So ready for the runway, and we saw you
Baby,
walking down that runway.
ready for anything.
And tell me, let me first have you introduce yourself, and then also give your pronouns.
Perfect. My name is Phoenix. I'm from season 3 of RuPaul's Drag Race. My pronouns are in drag, she, out of drag, he.
Thank you.
Yes.
And reflecting just back on your time on Drag Race, what did that moment mean to you?
Oh my God. So Drag Race season 3, that was 14 years ago. So it was such a different ball game. It was amazing. You know, we didn't really realize what we were getting into though. We walked in the workroom and, you know, we didn't walk in knowing what Drag Race is. So we kind of walked in like, what are we getting ourselves into? So it was an amazing experience. And now watching it explode to what it has become is just phenomenal.
It's amazing. We were on the floor and I was talking to so many queens on there who were saying, yeah, it was because of Drag Race that I started getting involved in this art form. And I was like, oh wow, it's amazing to see the impact. What does that mean to you knowing that you were a part of those earlier seasons that inspired people?
It's phenomenal. Look, I started drag 23 years ago. You know, I started drag because I love the art of it. I didn't start because of a TV show or whatever it was. Drag was so underground when I started, but now seeing it turn into, you know, I have kids that watch drag and that love drag, and I know, don't even get me started on, you know, drag is dangerous. I feel like drag is such a powerful artistry. We're leaders of when something needs to be accomplished, drag queens come to the forefront, and you know, I love seeing what we've turned it into. It's amazing to be a part of it.
And especially being in Atlanta in the South, have you found that there's a bit of pushback or resistance, especially given the way that the laws are kind of trending right now?
You know, I luckily in Atlanta I don't experience too much of it, but I also run the entertainment for South Carolina Pride, and you know, I've had to kind of be, you know, we've had to have some meetings about that. I did an event in Florida, let's see, 2 years ago. Was the first time that I had to rethink how I was going to enter the event. I'd never experienced that before, and it just kind of being like, all right, so I need to go through like a back entrance to make sure that I could get, it was a really bizarre, because look, I do this for greatness, because I'm an artist. I don't do it to hurt people, to weaponize. I do it for good. So like kind of having to rework my artistry to fit someone else's point of view is a very odd thing. So
Yeah, especially as an artist, you never want to be limited. You want to be able to fully express yourself.
correct.
And for you, what is that freedom that this art form has brought you personally?
So it just, it's been a way for me to really kind of figure out my creativity. I think if I didn't do drag, my personality as Brian would be different. It has allowed me to realize my love for makeup, my love for design. It just really has. I've always been a performer, but this has just amplified it. So drag has been such a huge influence in my life. So
I mean, it's stunning.
thank you so much. Thank you.
And I also wanted to ask, going back to the previous question, just about you're talking about having to go through a back entrance,
Right.
having to kind of tiptoe in certain areas when you approach it. What would you say to those queens who are in these areas, aren't necessarily on the platform of being in this show, and might be a little bit worried depending on how the elections go?
It is such a fear. I think we're all thinking about it, especially right now. Such a scary time because this election can really do a lot for our community. We've got to remain strong. We've got to get out there. We've got to vote. We've got to vote. Remember that it does matter, and it can be life-changing. So, but remember that drag artists have always been the leaders. We have always been on the forefront to make a difference and hold people accountable. So, be cautious, but also do not be afraid.
I love that. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Thank you. We're good. We're on time.
Well, it's like 3 years later, I put on a shoe, and now it's a rough day.
Oh, no.
No, it's fine. It's fine. I'm
You
a
look
profesh.
amazing.
Thank you
look
so
great.
much.
Candace, you have made history on television. Tell me, what does that mean to you now, seeing the progression of more, just trans actors on the screen?
I feel honored. I feel like I was a part of starting that movement, and it means the world to me. It's part of my legacy, which I'm going to cherish. I'm going to carry with me. I feel like the trans community has really done great work, and the cis community and allies have done really great work involving the trans community for the most part. I know right now, with the political climate going on, it's really difficult, especially I think for a lot of companies, because they're afraid to be supportive sometimes, which, it's a little infuriating, but I understand it. We just need allies at this point, especially with all the legislation happening in the States. So I know that what I've done is really good, and I'm so blessed to have been doing it. But it's not over, and I have to keep going, and keep fighting, and just keep going.
What advice would you have for trans kids who look up to you and see your work, and also want to be strutting down the runway or acting on television as well?
When I first got Dirty Sexy Money, I realized that anything is possible, because I didn't, even though I always felt it and I always was going to keep doing it, there's always that bit like, oh, is the world going to let me in, and so my advice would be to keep going, keep trying, find your tribe, find people that love and support you, especially now find places that accept you, and keep going and follow your dreams, because there's nothing more powerful than strength in a dream.
That's very true. So it keeps that drive. Right?
It keeps that drive, it keeps you going. When people say no, you say, okay, on to the next. And I've heard many no's in my life, but I never let it stop me from doing what I wanted to do.
Thank you so much, Candace. I appreciate it. No, those are great sound bites.
Girls come here and they are on the shows, and it's a good place to meet everyone, to have everybody have eyes on Secret Guardian, and to just honestly, after the